Well, in a close second, but not really, Warner Brothers' Tomb Raider had a respectable showing with more than $23 million in ticket sales. ABC Columbia's Matt Perrin gives us his take on the remake.
Welcome to another Monday. It's getting to the point where I'm starting to wonder if I'm ever not going to say Black Panther is still holding strong and winning the box office. It's a week away from being the highest grossing superhero movie of all time, but watch out, the pre-sale for Avengers Infinity War has set a ticket sales record already. All that matters though is that Marvel and Disney execs are sitting in a dark corner somewhere going, good. But back to the present. With several new wide releases this weekend, once again I had to follow the money, so here's my take on the newest adaptation of Tomb Raider. Our movie begins, of course, with Alicia Vikander playing the video game heroine Lara Croft. But this is not the Lara Croft we all know from the games. She works as a bike messenger and practices MMA fighting. Her father disappeared 7 years prior, and she refuses to take over his companies and his fortune just as much as she refuses to accept that he's dead. One day, the acting head of his company gives Laura a puzzle box that leads her to her father's secret underground study. She finds a recorded message from her father telling her to burn all his research because there's an evil organization trying to use it to unleash a global genocide. Of course, now having clues to her father's final destination, Laura skips his advice and heads across the globe to try to discover what happened. She finds a down-and-out sea captain whose father also disappeared with Laura's. It takes some convincing, but the pair set out to the remote island that Laura thinks they went to. Getting there is a challenge, but eventually she arrives. As the movie progresses, we see Laura enslaved by the exact organization she was warned of, yet desperate to find answers of her father's fate. With a narrow escape, she evades her captors and is able to discover some answers on her own. Of course, the movie is called Tomb Raider, so a tomb must come into play. Set on world domination, the organization finds the tomb and is attempting to gain entry. Getting the upper hand on Laura again, she is used to gain access, and from there, the action heats up. We're able to see some of the aspects of the game we may remember fondly. You can never tell exactly who's working together and to what purpose, but this group must survive not only the tomb, but each other as well. So, what to say about this one? First off, did we need a Tomb Raider reboot right now? Yes, I know that several years ago they rebooted the game franchise and there's a new one coming out later this year, but really, is it needed? Surprisingly to me, Hollywood keeps attempting to make video games into movies, even though they're already pretty close to movies themselves. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the Resident Evil franchise, but overall, the video game movies don't work all that well, and in a couple of weeks, we get Rampage, which is one of the least plot-driven video games of all time. But I digress. Back to this film. It does serve its purpose, and that is that it entertains without much thought being required. It's definitely action-driven to the point that it almost detracts. It's almost like the writers composed 30 action scenes and then just had to connect a few dots between them. In the old Angelina Jolie versions, we had a Lara Croft that was already proficient in her craft, whereas this one is more of a Croft origin story, so we'll see what the sequels hold for her if they get made. It's definitely interesting watching Alicia Vikander doing the action thing after seeing her in mostly award-worthy performances, but she works with what they gave her and doesn't do a bad job with it. All in all, if you want an action film that you can just zone out and enjoy, this may be the film for you. This has been your Monday Movie Musing. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Matt. Your 7-day forecast with Tyler Ryan when we come back.